Okay, 7 o'clock, we'll call the February 21st, 2024 Barnes County North School Board meeting to order. And the first thing we'll do is, if you please rise, we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Anything, Andy?
Nope.
Okay. Then we'll jump right into consent agenda. Minutes, bills, and financial reports. Any questions or comments on those? Hearing none, we would need a motion to approve that consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Okay, is there a
I'll second it.
Eric? When you're ready, roll call, Lindsay.
Jennifer. Yes. Mike.
Yes.
Rob.
Yes.
Tyler.
Yes.
Cody.
Yes.
Cindy.
Yes.
Eric.
Yes.
Lee.
Yes.
Patron forum, you have nothing?
Nothing.
Okay, then we'll roll right into your administrative report.
Okay, just touching on highlights, and I got a couple additions to it. So at the April meeting, not sure how many students, but we will have some attending, and they'll be showing you some of their projects they've been doing with Minecraft. They've really done some neat activities. The teachers have all throughout the building with stuff they learned at that January 2nd Professional Development Day. So we're gonna hopefully bring that in to you guys so you can see the great work that they're doing and how that kind of rolls over from PD into classroom for that. Today, and I didn't even know, I just kind of dumbed upon it, School Funding Task Force met today. Transportation aid was one of the first topics talked about, and you'll probably get 2 documents from me, emails tomorrow. One is the transportation aid sheet that was sent out and what it would look like if they funded like 50% of it or 70% of it. Moving forward for that, and other things they talked about was how, possibly working it into the funding formula, which I don't think that would probably be the best for us, or separating like bus purchase funding, making that one separate account from like the day-to-day operations, the mileage, the miles, the riders, that one, doing those kind of things for that. And then they also talked about, the property tax. If that went away, what would that look like for that? So I will send you some information that was just a PowerPoint actually that was presented today during that. Just for your information right now, it'll probably come back through Budget Finance Committee, through Transportation Buildings Grounds, whomever, but it's basically just an FYI for you for now to look at it. And then the other thing, Budget and Finance, we'll be looking into our hot lunch program. We're gonna look at funding, what it would look like for budgeting, like putting a budget, and then, expenditures. What are we doing? Where is it going? And what do we need to do moving forward with that program? So those were the 2 additions to school funding and the hot lunch that I had to my report.
You had for Cognia, so do we need, I know when we first met with strategic plan, you said we're using it for Cognia. Well, are we gonna finalize that, or do we need to finalize it?
We don't need to finalize it because we do have a plan. I mean,
In place?
One that's
We haven't been
yes,
changed, we haven't changed it,
correct,
yes, yep.
for that. So we do have a plan in place that we work off, whatever. No, I mean, the other one, yes, be nice to finalize it, but that'll drive, later. We don't need it for the Cognia.
You're gonna work on the one that's in place?
Yes.
Okay. Any other questions, Mr. Curry, on superintendent? If not, JR, we'll turn it over to you, secondary and AD.
The only thing that I have to add is congratulations to Riley Kramlich, enlisted in the North Dakota Army National Guard on February 15th. She was working pretty hard on that. She had to take the ASVAB test few times to get it. And I'd also like to thank Mr. Schaefer for helping her early mornings with her math stuff. That really helped her get through with that, so.
Okay. Any questions? JR? Okay. Ms. Bussey? Elementary.
March is reading month and we're doing a sports theme, so I attached the tailgating stuff for our end of reading. I know teachers and community members have been reaching out to people who play sports at a higher level to read to our students throughout the month, so we're waiting to verify some of that. You can see the MTSS just had our second workday in Jamestown. And then I also thanked the Title I that happened, was it shortly after the last board meeting, with Patrick and Lisa planning that, and then the teachers who volunteered that night. We had lots of really good feedback there. A few students who talked with the sixth graders on the podcast about it. And like Mr. Curry said, they've been implementing it, so we're excited to have students share what they've been doing. I just put the fundraising stuff down there minus I paid the speech team for balloons, the helium. So minus the expenses for that. And then the February newsletter was included, so.
If I could just piggyback off of something that Mrs. Bussey was talking about, the tailgating thing, because I had met with Mrs. McMillan about how I'd like the high school to potentially be involved in that. But just wondering if, I don't know if anybody's reached out to you guys, if the school board would like to have a spot out there as a part of that, because we're inviting community members to see if you guys want to have your own little section set up with whatever that you guys have, or if you have your local businesses, if you guys are gonna partake in that. Because at the student level on the high school side, whether how we break it up into groups or whatnot, of getting our kids out there doing and partaking in that as well. So I wasn't sure if anybody had spoken to you guys about that.
Not directly, but
No?
got
Okay.
the mail on it and everything, so.
Okay.
That's, when was that, April 5th?
Yep.
April 5th,
Yeah,
yeah,
12:45 to
45.
2:15.
And when do you want to have people committed?
I mean, the sooner the better, so you can plan it. I'm sure
So
Mrs.
The 4th?
No.
Morning of March.
Did she, let me pull it up. I don't know if she put,
I think maybe having the school board there might not be a bad idea, I guess. I mean, I hate to commit everybody to going, but then again, everyone might be there with what they do, you know, with their job too, so it might be hard to have
there
one
is a high
specific for
school,
that.
2/4 of a high school basketball game afterwards. To come in and watch.
What's that gonna be?
That is,
Well,
Mrs. McMillan talked to.
we originally were thinking about basketball, but then it would be co-ed, but then I started thinking that maybe volleyball might actually be a better one to do, where you not necessarily have to be the most skilled person out there, where I think more people might want to participate in that volleyball one than a basketball one, as far as that goes. So figuring out, and it would just be a quick 2-set game.
Sure.
As far as that goes. Just to try and encourage as much participation in that as possible, where I think basketball might not draw as many to it.
and if there's 2 sets, we could always have the little kids do a, quick game somehow.
So this is an in-house game? so not
It
just
is,
something
it is
else.
in-house,
No,
yes.
yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Because I know we're, like you say, that was something Lisbon, I know, did with basketball and brought another school in and did.
Yeah, and I'll discuss that
That's
on
a
the,
different
Okay,
one, yeah.
okay.
on the extracurricular one. Yep.
I will ask Mr. O'Brien is here, and I know you guys meet at 3 most days. Can I ask him if
Yep.
they've discussed a deadline or?
No, we haven't. Right now we're doing mostly the trimester stuff. So we
Sure,
haven't
got the
really
data
worked
reviews
on
coming
that,
up.
so.
Have you mentioned how many people have reached out and reserved a spot?
No.
Okay,
Sorry.
Okay.
I'll ask her tomorrow.
Okay, perfect. Anything else, Mrs. Bussey? Melissa, you're up next, technology. Yeah, anything?
Just what I sent out in the notes, we're moving on in our new tech plan and working on, oh, I see I misspelled goal. I'm looking, I'm like, go to. So we're hoping that'll be completed in April. Our kids did an hour of code last week in the gym, the elementary students, and they did anything from Lego We-Dos to Minecraft to Stickbots to other coding types of things, and that went really well. Mrs. Broughton and I are working on some scheduling stuff, hoping that we can get our kids to go and register for classes online this year and use PowerSchool for scheduling. And state testing is coming up, so that'll be busy. And then the administrators and I have been working on just getting quotes for Bell PA still, which I've talked about the last couple of meetings, but we just kind of keep navigating and working through that process.
Okay.
Any questions?
Okay. I was gonna back up one thing. We had a request to see those schedules. I appreciate that in the handout, so everybody can see those schedules.
The high school and elementary.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, board committee reports. We've had a couple.
Yep. And you can start with Personnel Committee.
I'll take that, yes.
I mean, they're always posted online too, but it's nice to have a talk about them.
So some of the things we talked about was Kelly Scott retiring. Are we going to replace her with another teacher or not? We kind of went back and forth and just kind of decided that couldn't really justify another teacher at this point. We know that class needs the extra help, but looking at classes coming up. And so we kind of came to a compromise of wanting to hire a full-time aide for that class that would follow that class. We also talked about Joanne with her retirement, looking at all the different job duties that she has. We kind of thought maybe there was 7 or 8 staff administration. Possibly some of her duties would fall into their duties to where we could divvy those up. And if it became too much, then looking at hiring someone for that position. And then the business ag, we have someone that we would like to offer the job to, so I think that was on the agenda.
That's on the
too.
agenda, yeah.
And am I missing anything?
Art,
Oh, art, it was kind of a disaster the first part of the year. Moving forward, there was kind of a plan B. There was someone who possibly might be interested in that position to where it could give elementary art classes and then a little bit on the high school end. It might look a little bit different than what we have right now. But I think just taking away art as a mandatory class and make it more of a elective would work a lot better, so.
Did you reach out, Mr.
yes,
Curry?
I did. Still interested
Okay.
with that, so at some point when it works to meet Mrs. Bussey and Mr. Wilson, and if there is a personnel committee member would like to sit down with her, we'll let you know when that date is, and we can kind of discuss, what we're thinking and what she's possibly thinking. She's got an idea what we're looking at, as far as at least the elementary art side of it. It's just a matter of what else could it possibly be, and where else are our needs moving forward for that, so, yep.
And then we also talked about title.
Right now, we kind of have that filled 1.5. Looking to hire another full-time title person. Again, with budget, we just don't know that that's gonna happen, so I think we're just gonna keep it at the 1.5 right now, because doing 2 on the elementary would take away from 7th and 8th grade right now,
Okay.
and we didn't think that was
'Cause what does
something-
title fund right now, about 1?
A little over
One FTE.
one
One and
quarter.
a half-ish.
Yeah.
Okay,
But possibly looking at schedules, you know, to see when we get into next year's schedules, is there some free time? Can we move maybe some
Shuffle.
time around to help out in that area as well?
okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, a lot of it came down to budget items,
Okay,
so.
okay. Questions anybody else had?
And last one was the business manager evaluation.
Oh, yeah. We kind of decided on the one that was sent out. There was a couple other ones we looked at, and they just got way too in-depth, and it was just more than we thought we needed. So we just thought keep it simple, like that Lindsay kind of filled everything out of what she actually does in those areas. And I think moving forward, just kind of sticking with
That
the
one.
one that we have, so.
Yeah, and I think the conversation stemmed around, we thought, you know, the one that Lindsay did is a self-evaluation.
It was more of where you guys could find the information relating to.
It's an educational
not
piece.
my reflection on myself.
Is what we
Right.
thought.
Yeah.
Yeah, for that, and that's down in unfinished business too.
Okay.
We can talk about that.
Okay.
And extracurricular,
Extracurriculars there.
whomever would like to go on that one, gentlemen.
Talked about the open gym, getting that going, I guess.
The email came out about 4:30 today.
Yeah, I see
checked your email.
Trying to pull it up.
Talked about the coaching positions, what was all filled. Discussion with the coaches, some for next year, see how the season went this year, see if we're gonna have any new vacancies for next year, or how things look, you know, making sure we're staying on top of that. Talked about having a game during the school day, which was kind of a neat idea. Maybe you wanna talk a little bit more
Yeah.
about that, Mr. Wilson, cause you dug into that a little more.
Yep, so caught wind, probably like a lot of people did, off of Facebook when, Lisbon and, was it Higginson?
Sergeant County?
Sargent
Sargent
County,
County.
yeah, Sargent County. They got theirs, they did a C-Squad game, and they had done that, or put that together to try and be a way of enticing or encouraging kids to come out for sports in front of the whole school. So that got me to thinking, and I reached out to Griggs, because their proximity to us, it would make for a great environment. I think that it would be something that we could transport our kids to, or they could transport their kids to, for a game in there, and get that place packed and have that kind of an environment or whatnot, and just trying to figure out which level that we could do that at. Varsity level would be tough because you'd have to get sanctioned officials, and I don't know how easy it would be to get that. But if that was something that we would do, we would just kind of have to reverse the schedule, where the varsity game would take place first and then the other games afterwards or whatnot. And then also thinking about, that's something that we could probably potentially do for volleyball as well. You know, and that just becomes a thing that us and another school gets to be a traditional type atmosphere or experience for it, because it would be the easiest way of being able to transport kids, if we want to do that, to create an extra exciting environment, because I think that game would probably be one of the most attended games that those kids, whatever level it was, would actually get to ever play in front of. So talk to them. She's discussing it down on that end to see as far as how we could make that possible. As long as you guys would be okay with something like that taking place during the school day.
And then they talked about the dance team too, wanting to be affiliated with the school. All that would be is just affiliated with the school and take care of the checking, just the finances. It's no transportation or cost or anything, so. They need that
Is the
sanction to
reason-
be at the state tournament, I believe, right?
Yeah.
Just as a precedent thing, but is the reason that we're not considering transportation and so forth because there's 6 or less athletes participating?
That and.
Is that why? Or that's just the proposal from the dance?
That was kind of what was brought forward.
Okay. Just checking, because we've said that always with other sports, that 6 or less, no transportation. So I'm wondering if that's why, because it rises to the level of if we get 10 people or something like that.
The difference really with dance, from what I've understood, is for them to compete, they have to be school affiliated.
Okay.
So all the other clubs, like the archery, whatever, there is no requirement where you have to be school affiliated. So dance has always been looked at as a club sport.
Okay.
So with them coming to the school for that school affiliation won't really change the funding.
Okay.
To where there'd be an issue where archery and all the other clubs would want to do the same thing. This kind of keeps them in the same boat as what it was before, but it gives them the ability to compete.
What is the difference between there and archery, which they just came to the board and asked if we made a motion that they could use our name because they need to have a school name to participate in.
Oh, that's
Competitions
happened for
also.
archery too now.
That's
No,
just the
trap,
name.
Trap.
Or for track.
Oh,
That's
crap.
how it was, you have to be a school, you gotta use the school name. And they just came to us years back, look for a motion that we could use the school name to participate in at Horace for their.
So they word this as being school affiliated. Now, I don't know if there's a difference between.
That's why, I'm asking what the difference is in that and trap.
Probably the same thing.
When I went through this 4 years ago, looking into it when McKinley was in dance, I called every Class B school just to see. And I know that Autumn Nylander went through this at Northern Cass too. And the reason why they don't fall under the North Dakota High School Sports Association is because of the requirements for dance. And they started the NDADD to make up for that. I mean, you get the exact same trophies and stuff, and it's the exact same requirements. And she had to argue it. I don't know all the little points behind what she argued, but every Class B school in the state was through the school system. And so I know they say it doesn't fall under this or it doesn't fall under that, but if you reach out, I mean, it's this, it really does. It just.
Because we'd have to go back or look back at our motions. So right now, our motion is that we do not affiliate anything that's not high school,
DHSA.
AA school sponsored sport. Dance does not fall under that. Right. And that was our motion in the past.
Right. And
So
there's
we would have
a
to have a different type motion at some point.
Okay.
So if that's what we want, we would want to put her on for next month if there's something we need to vote on.
But I would imagine at some point, some agreement had to have been made, because how else were they able to be called the BCN Bisonettes?
Nothing that we have made.
And I asked that too, because I said, if they are being called that and not through the school, then we should technically have a memorandum of understanding in
Right.
place. And I asked for that too, and it wasn't done.
There's nothing been done.
And I say that, like, if anything were to happen at a competition, they would be calling Mr. Wilson as our AD, and it would be the school on the line, so.
Which we'll look at with this one at our March meeting. We'll put it on the formal agenda as an actionable item for that. I guess, I mean, from my standpoint, I can ask JR at some point too, but knowing who the coaches may be for this sport, if they're gone, is that like personal days for them? Or who does that fall under? Does it fall under Cheyenne Valley
It's gonna be a little
Bowtech? Does
different
it
too, that we're gonna have to
fall
address
under
on the other end.
BCN to
Right.
make that decision? Where does that come from? Just, I don't need an answer right now, just something to think about.
And that's why all that was really being looked at is the association,
Right.
and then being able to still use the gym space.
Right. There's no
Everything
transportation
else
costs, no
would be
coaching
run the
costs, any
same
of
way
that.
that it is. All their fundraising would be run through there. Part of the reason for wanting the school to take over the accounting of the financials is because that's where a lot of turmoil stemmed from in prior years of not knowing where the money is, how much money is available, what's it being
Right.
used for. That now the new coach coming in doesn't want that. She wants to have it transparent and people ask. She knows that she can go to Lindsay and say, hey, can you get me a printout of this? And here's where we're spending that money. Those are the only two things that they want, the designated association and then tracking of the money. Everything else is gonna be run the same way that it has in the past.
So it's kind of coming back to the trap, you can use the name kind of situation, just. with an
Basically, and that's all we
additional-
did before, was just,
Okay.
you
I
allowed
just
them to use
want
the
to,
name.
I'm totally have no problem with
Yeah.
this, but I just want to make sure how it falls for if other things come, so,
Yeah.
yeah.
And that was the whole point behind it, was just trying to make it as,
Yep.
separate, I guess, from other sports and everything that's included with that.
Well, if it's
typically.
not affiliated with NDHSA at all anyways. then-
I'm just curious about how the other school, the Class B schools word it, or, because when I called, I mean, I talked to the secretary at every school and just said, I'm curious about your dance program. And they were more than willing to give, like, how much was contributed, or if they treated it like another sport, how they did it, who paid for coaches, all of the things.
Right.
So they were more than willing to give the information, and I unfortunately didn't keep it. Probably have it somewhere if I dig really, really deep into something, but, and then I told that when I was approached about other schools, because I didn't know, I only knew of one school.
So that will run then through the extracurricular stuff, right,
If that's what we
Lindsay,
do.
there'd be an understanding, and those bills would be approved by board then,
Yeah,
okay.
and I think
Just
that
as
was
long as
the
everybody's
intent
aware.
of it, yeah.
That's the fun, that's the
Are they
requirement.
approved by board on activity?
They have- They
Activities,
also
yeah.
approve every
All
month.
activities.
Bills report.
It's in the report.
Well, I
But it's
would,
kinda-
I would imagine except for anything that's fundraised.
No, that's
They're all
in
in
there
there.
too.
It's all in
too.
there.
It's
All
all
that should
government
be-
funds, so
be
it
approved,
really
yes.
doesn't matter.
Yep, everything's gonna have to be run through.
If that's the case, yes.
And if the coaches take salaries, that will be a whole nother discussion that will have to
Yeah.
happen.
That's the problem with coming under the envelope of it.
Yes.
It will be subject to audit, it will be subject to a board approval, and it will be subject to payroll rules if it's considered payroll. Just so you know, that's.
No, I know, but I'll just go boys basketball.
Everything they do.
But
is-
don't they have one separate account, fundraising
Yeah, but
account?
it's still
It still
comes
goes
to
to
the
be approved.
activity
We
fund.
approve
If you
it
look
every
at the
month.
board report,
Yeah.
everything.
Everything
is
that
in there.
happens with the locker room, everything that happens with the book fair, everything that happens, anything that runs through school
Any
funding
elementary
has to be
fundraising,
board
any
approved on the
speech,
side,
any
so.
music.
Which is the intent.
Yep,
There,
and there's no
wants to
problem.
be checking
Checks and
balances.
balances.
Yeah.
Yep, I don't think anybody
All
here
it
has a
is.
problem
Yeah.
with that, it's just
No.
making sure we discuss it, because that's what one of the parameters is gonna have to be. There can't be separate checkbooks from the school-related stuff. That could be a big problem.
Yeah, no, I was just
Yeah.
curious on how the fundraising
Yep,
money
still goes through.
aspect worked.
So if there's any more of those discussions that need to
So
be
those
had
that-
before the March
Take
meeting.
fundraising, okay,
Yeah.
your fundraisers all account for fundraising. So Lindsay, do they come not dispersed till we approve, or how does they get dispersed? Or we just got them there and we rubber
It
stamp
depends,
it?
I mean, anything that comes at the end of the month now, you guys get that report.
You're right,
Mhm.
yeah,
That
see
shows
it
the
every
prior month, so if there was something that got paid, you would see it.
but it would already be out at
Yeah, and
that
if there's
point.
something purchased on the credit card, I mean, it's approved by whoever's doing the fundraising and Mr. Curry, and then it's put on the credit card.
I'm
and
just
the
trying to
bill
get it
is
all
paid.
out, we are understanding where we're at here, but yeah.
You know, and refs, they're not fundraising, but they go through the activity
Right.
fund, and they're just paid as the games come
As
up.
games come
because-
up, yeah.
But again, those are all on the reports from either the end of the previous month or the current
Yep.
month, depending on how that.
But yeah, they're, like you say, they're all open to audit then.
Yeah, and just making sure everybody knows, any bills that get written through the school funds go into public knowledge, so.
Yeah.
Do they have to be approved, or they're just open to the public?
They're open to the
Open.
public and can be questioned by the board,
Yes.
like,
Yeah.
you guys said, why was
I
this
don't
purchase
think
made? Or-
anybody, if you fundraise the money, as long as you stay within, if you can't run your fundraising negative, but,
Correct.
I mean, if that's what you fundraise for and it's within the parameter of what you fundraise for, I don't think anybody's ever gonna, an auditor's never gonna look at it like that either.
The
but-
question
Question would be if you
is-
run out of money.
Yeah, if you run out of
on
money.
requests
If
that
they're
come
going
through for fundraising,
negative.
Yeah.
there's not very many questions that I ask of somebody.
Exactly.
If it's coming out of their fundraising account.
But it does-
If that's the way they want to spend their money, I guess that's the
But-
way you want to spend your money, as long as you got it.
But it will be in the public record
Yeah.
on the consent agenda.
Yeah, that just makes it a lot
Oh,
easier to do.
I think
if you
everybody-
don't have to have it approved beforehand.
Well, I'm sure the dance coach would have some type of, or somebody in the
There'd be
dance
some type of
organization
requisition
will
for
have
her
a
to write
requisition.
The same process that everyone else has to
As
do.
I say, it's the same process. There's gonna be
Yeah.
somebody checking that before.
Lindsay doesn't
And-
just get a bill and
and-
just go, okay, I'll pay
Pay
this.
this.
She goes through
And
approves
the
it.
coach wouldn't be the person ordering the items either. Kim has been doing all the ordering now for everything, so that would go through her after the requisition's been approved by whoever the powers that be, yes.
Just so, because that's gonna have to be the standard across any group that the school takes under. So,
And like Mr. Curry said, we'll double check on our end, because there's gonna be time off, what has to be done there, because it's not our employee
Right.
at that point. You know, if that's allowed or not, or whatever there. Okay?
The other thing on the open gym was just trying to get parents involved in getting open gym going on a consistent basis and getting kids in, and then seeing if we can get a group of parents that are interested in making sure that happens. And you look at some of the other schools where they've got their dance team playing during halftime, or, you know, 3rd and 4th grade basketball. We haven't had that lately, and if we get a group of parents willing to come in and help run open gym, they're probably the same group of parents that we could go to have a scrimmage during a game and just know who those people are we can reach out to and try to promote some of this. The basketball team's had pretty good success this year, and how to build on that and try to tie them back into the younger kids and, you know, get them to do some stuff with them and build that culture a little bit, you know, get the younger kids excited about being on the team that these older kids are on now, so. I don't know, anyone that has any good ideas on that, let us know or bring them forward, because that's, you know, hopefully we can build off of this year with the success that they've had so far and keep the excitement going. We've got good numbers on basketball, and it's good to see.
Okay. Anything else? Unfinished, we have business manager evaluation.
Like I said, it was basically educational, informational form from Lindsay that she filled out. Basically, hopefully it'll help educate a little bit if you're not sure of some of the things she does. Read this. We would still like a rating from everybody though, and comments if you have any. Is still the consensus of the personnel committee after going through it, but you really don't have to fill anything out in that sense. Rate it, comments, and I don't know, Mike, how you would like to, if you want to compile them or just hand them to Lindsay or whatever, however you want to do it. I'm not sure.
And are we wanting to do it for next month with all the other ones, or we want to do it at another?
There's no timeline on this one.
I know.
So
My
But we
question.
did.
it's, but unless you're gonna farm this one of these out to somebody else, it probably maybe isn't so bad to delay it till April so that you don't have to do a bunch of compiling in 1 month. I guess that's your choice unless you want to
Yes.
delegate.
Well, that's what my
Lindsay's
question
out
is.
to
Is it something
someone.
we need to do for
Yeah.
the March meeting, or do you want it to be done by the April meeting? What?
You know, when you get to the superintendent one, that one is due at the March meeting.
That has
So-
gotta be done at the March
Yes.
meeting.
Who does all the compiling? I got no problem with
We went to lunch there.
I have no problem if they all get back timely.
Yeah.
That does not happen most times.
I don't feel strongly either way. This one seems pretty straightforward, so I don't think this would add a lot to
Okay.
the docket. And if somebody sits down at their computer and takes the time to do it, I would hope we could get both at one time, and that, then you maybe will get everything back at
Okay.
once, rather than the delay. But
Okay,
I think he's asking all of us to be supportive of this situation.
I'm asking, yes, I want it back because I have this one, I would have business manager one, and I have a vocational director one to all have done at the same time. So if I don't get them back timely, I cannot get them all three done.
I
I'll be
say
honest with you.
push the business manager one back, personally, because I would say history is gonna repeat itself and you're not getting
Yeah.
that stuff timely.
If we send it to you early, you don't have to have it compiled till the April one, I would say.
Well, that'd be great. I'm just saying, I'm saying to myself, I cannot get three of them done and get it 2 days before they gotta be done.
Could we do it, could you send it out, and we just wouldn't have to review it until April, but we could send it all back to you at the same time?
Yes.
It's
I
right.
mean, that'd be
It's there.
fantastic, wouldn't
Yeah,
it?
it's
Because
this
right
one.
then we can just
Yep.
do them both at one
It was
time
in
and
the
give
board
you a lot
packet.
more
It's in the,
time.
it's in the packet.
It's in the packet.
I'd have no problem with that.
Yep.
That's, I guess, my question, do they need to be that March, or you want to be looked to approved at April?
I motion that the superintendent evaluation is due by March meeting, and the business manager evaluation is due by April board
Yeah,
meeting.
the March one
I
is
don't
set
think
by
we need
Century
that
Code.
motion with the
Okay,
superintendent.
well,
'cause
he was
it's
looking
not a
at
choice
me
for
like-
that one.
I just need to know about the business manager. The
Okay.
superintendent one is set by Century Code.
Yeah,
So you want me to rephrase that
Yeah.
then? I move that the business manager evaluations are due by the April board meeting, so please have them to Mike Schwer by April 1st.
Perfect. Is there a second to that?
I'll second that.
Okay. Lindsay, roll call then.
Who was the second, Eric?
Eric?
Yep.
There.
Lee,
Yes.
Tyler,
Yes.
Rob,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Eric,
Yes.
Cody,
Yes.
Jennifer,
Yes.
Cindy.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, then we move to new business contract for ag business position.
so through the personnel committee, did an interview in December, Tyler? With Stacy Lilja is her name. She's from the Tower City area. She is currently student teaching at Maple Valley in business, but she has an ag economic degree as well. So I guess through the personnel committee, and personnel committee, correct me if I'm wrong, I think we would like to recommend offering her a contract for the 24-25 year with the idea that, it's kind of a split position, but to start with, you have to build an ag program, so you can't throw seniors into her program right away for that. I mean, you need your junior high kids to take it, you need your freshmen to take intro to ag, and the sophomores, they take foundations, and after that, they take agronomy or whatever else, animal science, whatever else. So what it looks like right now is probably not what it would look like in 3-4 years for that. So whether it's a 3-2 split, 4-2 split as far as business ag, I mean, ideally it's 3-3 or maybe lean towards the ag side, depending upon how well it goes. But I guess, long story short, should be come in at a starting, a first-year teacher contract, and I think the idea is to help Mr. Wilson with some electives and getting our kids into more face-to-face classes, on-campus classes for some of our areas. So, Personnel Committee, anything else, questions?
2 questions.
Yep.
One, does that modify the schedule of the current two-class business teacher, or is that to be continued then?
It would modify her schedule a little
Modify her
bit to
schedule.
teach a different business class probably, or, yeah.
And then space, what is the intended space to be used, and is it actual, like, mechanical ag stuff, or is it more, egg science education?
A lot of it to start with is ag education.
Okay.
Before you get into like
Yep.
woodworking or horticulture or stuff like that, if that's what you're asking.
Yes, that was the
Jennifer,
question.
yes, a lot of
I'm
it's just
thinking-
intro to ag education.
I'm
and
thinking-
the different areas of ag.
Yeah, I was just thinking as it from a budget standpoint, obviously, educator and that kind of stuff, but then if you're moving into egg mechanics or woodworking or anything, there's some, obviously, equipment
That's where
updates
I
that
was
would
gonna
need.
go.
So that's my
That's-
question. So that's a potential fundraising opportunity for down the road. then.
Correct,
Got it.
yes.
Are you, and is that going to, how do we work that with our ag classes that we're hoping, I mean, is that something we're gonna compete with? Is it something we're gonna try to intro them and
Feed into.
feed into? I mean, that's a discussion we're gonna have to have
It's
on our end.
correct,
Yeah.
right. I think it's when you get into it and look at how popular or how right away you're gonna have 7th and 8th graders and then freshmen. Well, they're probably Mr. Wilson, correct me if I overspeak, please, for that. I mean, it's gonna be mandatory pretty much for those kids, probably to take an A class, especially junior high kids.
Yep.
It's just once you get to be junior, senior, when you start those elective classes, or maybe even as a sophomore, if ag's not your thing, those electives, then I guess it's a matter of where you, the board, want that program to go. Do you want to keep developing it here? Do we want to be a feeder program for the VOTEC?
Because we're gonna be, it gets down to dollar, because you're gonna fund two
Right.
ag
Right.
pro,
Yep.
just like you were, what about, you're gonna need equipment. I mean,
You're gonna
you're
need
gonna
space.
fund it, and you're gonna
Right.
need space, you're gonna need
Yes.
equipment, and you'll
Yep.
be funding two places.
Right.
Yeah,
It's how we're structuring on that side too, because they're extension of us, so where do we go?
right. And right now, it's an opportunity that we have that will hopefully add to our curriculum and I guess see where it goes.
'Cause that's what
Hopefully that
we've been-
generates interest for those kids
That,
getting older.
Right.
Because that's what we've been trying to get on the vocational side, is something, because we've got the valley, because they're right there, with all the intro, we're trying to come out with the rural to feed,
Right.
and this fits
Yeah.
right into
Right.
that, so, but because we've
Yeah,
got
and
now
it's a-
the greenhouses, I mean, we've already starting with.
Right.
And it's a dual position. I
And
mean, that
that's-
business is in there as well, which we
Right.
think is important for our kids
Oh, yeah.
also.
And that's the way the VOTEC classes are structured. They're not the intro basic classes, so this,
Right.
I mean,
It's the more-
that seems
it's
to be the
That would be
ideal
the more
fit.
vested
You would want to
interest,
have
right.
the intro
Right.
and have an interest in
And
school
we're gonna
and then
meet,
decide if you want to.
actually,
go to
tomorrow
VOTEC.
morning, we're meeting down there with what's the group, the ag group?
FFA.
No, the advisory group. Oh.
Oh,
We're meeting with them tomorrow morning, actually, and to try to do some planning, get some, where do we go? We've got the greenhouse, what do we do? It's high-priced stuff that we're looking.
Oh,
and There's a
yeah.
lot of stuff that can go around in the rotation before a guy starts purchasing, there's a lot of stuff in the high-tech that could roll to this, utilize that.
Does Stacy have interest in FFA programming opportunities beyond classroom?
JR, do you want
Was it
to
discussed?
answer
Because
that
there's some
question?
issues we
But that
gotta
would-
go through to
The
jump
reason I
hurdles
asked
for
that
that.
is only, it's not forbearance
Yeah,
really.
it wouldn't
It's because it was
be-
a discussion point on the parental,
Yep.
parent side.
It wouldn't be right away, because there's a cost aspect.
Well, and you have to
that
build,
as
your
well.
kids
And you
have to have the
build
intros anyways.
interest, where
Yeah.
with the ag stuff for 7th and 8th graders, it would be more of an exploratory split between the ag, the business, the facts, and potentially art as well, where they get an experience in all four of those areas to build interest. Then,
Right.
as 8th graders, they can build on it more. And then
But it was
as freshmen-
potentially on the table then, okay.
Yep.
You gotta do some
Yeah.
jumps, and with this,
Well, you
correct me if
gotta,
I'm wrong, there's a way
Yeah.
that the vocational, or that group's got the now that we have intro stuff, they could tie into that. to the other
You
one.
have to take
You gotta
an
get
intro
charged.
Have to
class,
take
you have to
intro to
take an
even
ag
get-
class to
Right.
even be part of FFA
Yeah.
right.
for that.
And they've got to, that chapter's got to be approved, there's some steps to
Oh,
get it
yeah.
approved.
So the ideal.
But it's on the table is all I was
Yes,
Yeah,
asking.
the
Not
ideal
started.
situation is for us to get the classroom stuff done here. So when they went to the VOTEC Center, then they're doing the things that they think they're going to be
Right.
doing.
Right.
Where in the past, they thought they were gonna be doing that stuff, but they were doing the classroom stuff instead, and they lost interest in that. So that is that would be the perfect scenario, that we get that classroom stuff done here, which they're used to being in the classrooms. Then when they get down there, it's all the hands, it's all of that fun stuff that they like to do. That would be
And
the
that's where
ideal.
we're trying to do is enhance that side if we could get the intro stuff done in the home school.
But the FFA would be completely separate
Yes.
from the academic and the
Yep.
hands-on stuff. That would be the extracurricular competitive team stuff, so
Yep.
that's the only question I had.
Co-curricular.
Thank you.
Yep.
So the position that they don't want to fill in elementary, is that factoring in this decision of adding this position, or?
Personnel committee.
When you talk about.
Well, I mean, we're adding a teacher, but yet the committee doesn't want to fill a vacancy. That's what I don't,
Well, we budgeted last year for the egg business
right?
slot and didn't
And
fill it.
It was always planned that Kelly was going to retire the year
Right.
prior,
Right.
right? And they weren't gonna replace
So how
her.
many positions
No, we
in
did
the
hire-
past?
we
have
did hire a year
not
ahead of
filled?
time.
Did we
Right, ahead of
discuss the
time,
two
yeah. Where we've
students
just
this year that came into that group?
Put an aide to.
Did we discuss like the two
That's what I'm
students that
concerned
came
about,
into
is
that
we keep
group
getting
this
rid
year?
of teacher positions.
26 kids.
I mean,
The-
where does it stop?
The,
So,
um,
yeah,
from before,
No, probably
the
not.
class
No,
was
yeah.
numbered originally from 4 or 5 years ago. This particular class that's fourth graders now was not to be split when they went to fifth grade. Now, obviously, we have to go facts and circumstances anyways, but that was budget-wise, when we talked about it a couple years ago, this class was not to stay split originally.
And
But that
this-
doesn't mean it doesn't change.
and I
I'm
wish
saying.
that I would have been a part of the personnel committee, I would have been there, I was at the admin conference, but like, so we shoved 26 kids into a classroom, granted, we would have an aide, we'd have to hire a really good instructional aide for
Right.
that. 26 fifth graders looks different than even, 20 first graders, so do we consider manipulating things? I honestly would have to do a departmentalized schedule to split them anyways, because there's no way you're fitting 26 fifth graders into a classroom with 2 teachers. We did have 2 students come this year, I don't know if that was considered, but also, when they go to high school, they get split, they can be split naturally because of the schedule, period. English 7A, 7B, like you can split them naturally. So, I don't know, it's always been 4th grade, and this year I did get it to 5th grade, but I would like it to be, revisited again.
Call to order, let's go back to the motion, or to the item on, because we're getting down in the weeds right now. But it's a very good topic.
But it was, it was a good
It's a
question,
good
because
comment.
I've thought about all that too, like, I wasn't a part of the discussion.
Yeah,
I read
sorry
the
I went
notes, but-
backwards,
Yeah,
I've been
no,
thinking
sorry,
since I've been
I-
here, but I'd like more info.
Yeah.
But I think
on that
that's where Mr.
stuff,
Curry
so-
said, we're gonna look at what we can relook
Yes.
at some of this, and, yeah, but our one now is on ag business.
It's a very good question, but we're off tangent.
Get a motion, did we get a second? I gotta remember.
There was a
don't think we have-
motion yet.
There was no motion.
No. Is that all that you had, Mr. Curry?
For Stacy, yeah, she also currently does one act play and speech at Maple Valley, so that could be an option as well. Didn't commit to it, but it could be an option.
And the personnel committee?
Recommendation
Yep.
is
Got
from the
it.
person.
Recommendation is
So
from.
I'd make a motion to offer a contract to Stacy Littlejohn.
I'll second that.
Any other discussion or questions? Lindsay, roll call.
Eric,
Yes.
Rob,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Tyler,
Yes.
Cody,
Yes.
Cindy,
Yes.
Jennifer.
Yes.
Okay. Next one is to release teacher contracts for the 24-25 school year, which we can do as of March 1, correct?
Correct.
So we wanted to get them out as soon as we can, so we would need a motion, unless you guys are not wanting to do that, we need a motion to turn them out March 1.
Make a motion to release teacher contracts March 1st.
I'll second.
Any other questions, discussion? If not, when you're ready, Lindsay, roll call.
Was Lee the second?
Yes.
Rob,
Yes.
Jennifer,
Yes.
Cindy,
Yes.
Cody,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Tyler,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Eric.
Yes.
The 504 plan,
Mrs.
So-
Anderson put this together, yep, go ahead.
Mrs. Anderson and I worked on this. She took over for Julie. She has the Title I background. We talked about that with interventions. And we worked on this and we've referenced it so many times in her, she's referenced it so many times throughout 504 processes that we just figured it would be nice to have board approval so that we could post it to our website so that it's accessible by parents, community members, since we're utilizing it frequently in meetings. And I say we're, but Mrs. Anderson typically references it.
Is this like a, just to check, this isn't something we came up with necessarily, we've upped it to BCN, but it's standard protocol to North Dakota Education?
It's using the 504 procedure handbook and.
What's a 504 procedure? That's what my problem is.
Like, it's using the law book that we got from the training.
Okay, got
In
it.
correspondence with, she connected with another 504 coordinator who shared resources.
Got it.
So,
And it's nice because it lays out the process for parents, guardians, as far as what
there's a lot
is
of.
done
yeah.
to get your child into it. You just can't like ask and say, hey, I want to do it. No, there's a procedure that goes into it. There
Okay.
has to be medical reasons and other things to be on a 504.
Okay, thank you for the background.
Yes.
We would like a motion to approve that, just as Mrs. Bussey said, or if you got any questions.
And remember, it's not policy, it's
Yeah.
procedure.
Yes.
I'll make a motion to approve the 504 plan.
Is there a
I'll second.
Rob? And you're up, Lindsay, roll call.
Mike,
Yes.
Jennifer,
Yes,
Eric,
Yes.
Tyler,
Yes.
Rob,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Cody,
Yes.
Cindy.
Yes.
Okay, next is superintendent evaluation. Question I have, I've talked with Mr. Curry a little bit. We've got the long form we've been using. Some of us, other school, we've worked on something that's a little more simple, more direct questions. I visited with Andy about here the night. Just a thought, did you want to change what we're using or not? We can go either way. I'm gonna send it out. I'm gonna want it back by about the 1st of March. But this other one we had would be, I'd like to get away from 1 to 10, I'll be honest with you. I'd like to do, if we're gonna do it 1 to 5, that gives you a midpoint. It gives you above or below. 10, it just raises the number, in my mind, just all it does. So I'd like to make it a rating of 1 to 5 instead of 1 to 10. Whichever one we do, I'd rather not have owed it 1 to 10. It just, all it does is just, it's just a higher number. So the question is, do you want to use the same form we got? There's some here with just some more direct type questions, relate with.
10 more open-ended questions in certain areas. And to me, and like I told Mike, we were talking about it, I mean, try it, you know, maybe we need to change it a little bit, maybe it works great, maybe it doesn't work at all, but I like the questions for the most part. I mean, there's one in there, I mean, area of improvement, I like that question.
And
Comments.
what's doing well, I mean, we get a little.
Comments do more for me than a score, I'll be very honest with you. The score doesn't, it's all great and dandy, but anybody can go check a score. Any comments are more beneficial to me, and I think this is more open-ended and, you know, looks for those comments, or.
Kind of like the one we do in November, more of a self-evaluate, we're trying to get more comments.
Yes.
And
That's
not
the
looking
issue.
at
Are we
things,
willing to make comments?
make comments, yeah.
That's the question.
Yeah.
Because
But the other one, so
I agree.
what I get back a lot of, I don't know enough about that, I don't see that,
Right.
so this is more,
Kind of a little bit like Lindsay's, like the business manager on that one, well, I assume he does this, I think he does this.
yeah.
Maybe he does this, you know, where this one's a little more open-ended in general areas. Finance, communication,
Right.
budget,
And it covers the same ones.
Staffing.
It covers the same
Pretty much.
overall
for the most
of
part,
this?
yes.
Got it.
Yeah,
Is there still a score assigned to it?
Yes, 1 through
Yes.
5, yes.
At the end or each question?
Each question, we
Oh.
would score 1 through 5. So we would still have some type of average, know if you're average, above average, below, or whatever. And I would put in there, say if it's 1 to 5, I'm gonna put on there, if you score under a 3, I want a comment to address that score.
Why?
Why?
And would under 3 be unsatisfactory?
Yes.
It would be needs improvement, 1 would be unsatisfactory, 2 would probably need some type of improvement. 3 is your average, exceeds, or, something like that.
Because basically, when we go to approve evaluations, it's just approve a satisfactory evaluation, right?
When you
If-
score back, they're gonna be, if that average of the group is 3 or above, that's
Okay,
saying it's.
But 3 would be the just
Average.
if you put that on there so we know.
Yes.
Like if you put down a 2.
We want
you
some comment
technically
to
are
address
putting
why
it
you
on
did that too.
satisfactory,
Yes.
so we know what that number is.
Yes.
Okay.
As long as it checks the boxes, what the state is required.
And we can change this, obviously, the meeting before the evaluation then. So if next time, right before the evaluation, we go, hey, we've got an issue.
This
we don't
gives us a
wanna
little
use
more
this
time.
evaluation,
We
can
probably
change
should have
it.
made this discussion last month,
Yeah.
But we can't.
but we can change it. That's like you said, let's see how this works.
Okay.
If we need to adapt it, we do a different one in November anyway, a little bit, it's more of a self-evaluate.
Self-evaluate.
This is the what you need a score, and you need to, the March one, you need to show that it's satisfactory or unsatisfactory. That's what we need to, by century code, to address. This would still do that. And we, like I say, we kind of went over, we thought we covered most of it here.
Yes.
If anybody wants to take another peek at this, like I
Well,
say, it's
the
one of our
question
drafts.
is if we want to use that one.
If we want to use that, or the one that's in the packet, that we used last year.
Did everybody get a chance to see it?
Like, Cody probably didn't see this one yet, I don't think. It would still have a signature page and all the stuff that we had before. When I would compile it, all the comments would be there, just like before, and I'd do an average of your scores. I might even send it out a little different, almost maybe in a text thing that could click, 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 and it might be easier for me on the other end. Maybe.
We could get the high schoolers to come up with a Survey Monkey thing for
That's
you.
how I would like to do this. And get it so it click, 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 it's there.
Or you could just use AI, it
Yeah, I
might
was
probably
just
generate
gonna
something
say,
for you.
Yeah.
That's what the kids would do anyways.
So
that's the question.
So move to approve the draft of the superintendent evaluation to be sent out to board members and returned by March 1st.
March 1st.
I'll second that.
Okay. Roll call there.
I said a lot of words, give her a second.
He's
Was
right.
Lee the second?
Yes.
You can't type in here at the same time, or write in here at the same time. Cody,
Yes.
Jennifer,
Yes.
Mike,
Yeah.
Cindy,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Eric,
Yes.
Rob,
Yes.
Tyler.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. See how it works.
Yeah.
School calendar, we're gonna table till next.
We're gonna table it, there's still some teacher discussion that needs to happen, so.
I'd like to, I think Eric's the same way, it seems really early for me.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
is
It really
is there
does.
any idea of VOTEC schedule and Valley
Yep.
City schedule?
Proposed
If we change,
drafts, yes.
all the drafts are coming back to us as starting school a week later, close to the 21st, 22nd. The vocational schedule that we tentatively ran with is starting, first day is 21st.
21st to the 21st.
21st to the 21st, yes.
That,
That's
That
the
seems-
proposed
Yeah.
vocational schedule.
I mean, if we could start the 21st and still get done the 15th would be even better yet.
Yeah,
But no, not gonna work.
but it's a negotiated item that teachers have input on the schedule, so they need to, sounds like meet again to come up with something.
But
Can you do graduation before the final day of school?
Sure you can, it's all about hours now.
So I was just gonna
It's
ask.
all
So if
about
the
hours, so
seniors
if you
have their
met your
hours-
hours set by DPI, you're good.
Does it
Do you
have to
think
be on
we'd
a
get better
Sunday?
graduation
No.
attendance rates from the community if graduation was actually before school was out?
Yeah.
That's just a
You just-
question.
It is a question, and you just gotta be, as a board, be willing to say, fine, our seniors are not coming back for those last 2, 3, whatever days.
Right.
But it goes by hours. Once
It's-
you've met the hours,
Yes.
you
I'm
are
gonna throw
good.
some of the, other schools have done some of this, I've talked to some, Valley ran through it all last year. I mean, you go before the end of school, technically, graduation, official graduation papers
Still say the last day of school.
say the last day of school.
But it's the ceremony
The ceremony probably cannot have that piece of paper
in the thing.
in the thing.
In the diploma, yeah.
Like
the
the college
diploma.
ones, it's never.
You also have got track going on all the other sports, then kids are gonna be here. So once they're here, they're under us, you still gotta run the class schedule that, because they are probably here. You won't have to be here, but if they're running in tracks and everything else, they're here. Them are some of the other dilemmas and moving different things to accommodate
Well,
that. It's just other things you guys think
Just
about.
throwing
It
spaghetti
isn't
at the
just moving
wall.
the date.
Right, just throwing spaghetti at the
Yes,
wall kind of
right, that's what I'm
thing.
doing.
I mean,
There's other things that doesn't mean just change the date. It can be done early.
It
The
can
answer
be
is
done
yes.
early, yeah.
Yes.
For the ceremonial part of it.
Correct,
Yeah.
yes.
Yes.
Okay. That's just a question,
Yep.
because I don't think, in my opinion, I don't want to compete with bigger towns and bigger schools on getting my kids and their family and their community to support them at graduation. So that's the only hangup that I would have with moving that graduation date to a week later, so.
Yep.
But,
And some of these others are moving it to our, I mean, you're still gonna run with graduations
well, there will
on
be
the same
some,
date.
I mean,
Yeah.
local communities too,
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
it just seems, you know.
but that's the other part of it, that there is some other things that roll into it.
Okay.
Because
Good
on
points.
that one, next year's graduation, if you pushed it back that week,
It's
falls
Memorial-
on Memorial
Memorial
Day
Day
weekend.
weekend.
Right, right,
Right.
right. Yep.
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 That's why I just asked Mr. Curry, does it always have to be on a Sunday? I mean,
No.
we can move it to
We had
whatever.
Girl Friday
You could do it
nights.
We had it at
Right.
nights, we've had it
Yeah,
at
Some
well,
people have
schools
done
have
it
it
the last day of
Saturday.
school on
Yes.
Wednesday.
I graduated on Thursday
Yeah.
night.
Thursday
You
night.
graduated?
The last day of school that evening. We're out of here.
We did Friday nights, so.
Yep.
Sorry.
Okay, well, that whole discussion's tabled till next
Yep.
meeting.
Does that go back to who then? Does that go back to the calendar committee kind of thing, or?
Right now, it's going back to the teachers.
Okay.
So the
Just-
teachers are going
just
to
know
meet
the function
to hash
Got it.
They will
some
come with
discrepancies
another.
out, hopefully.
And there's some
Got it.
other things you're gonna clean up, because there's some things on
Yeah.
here that need to be cleaned up on this calendar.
Yeah,
Okay.
Days and,
which is done,
different
That's
things.
done.
done now.
Yeah.
You didn't see it, but.
No, but I say there's some things to
Yeah.
clean up on that too.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Next one's open enrollment.
All right, so there's 3 of them. The first one is a Valley City student coming to Barnes County North.
Are these for next year or are these for now?
Who knows on
Next
that?
year if they're open.
If you're getting them now, they're for next year.
Okay,
Yep.
thank you.
Is that high school or elementary?
Sounds elementary.
Elementary.
You want a motion for each of them again, right?
She's here already too.
So move to approve the open enrollment as Lindsay has dictated.
There's a second to the one.
I'll second.
Rob? Roll call, when you're ready.
Cody,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Eric,
Yep.
Jennifer,
Yes.
Rob,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Cindy,
Yes.
Tyler.
Yes.
The next one is a Jamestown to BCN pre-K.
And family already goes here. Correct, Mrs. Bussey?
Yes.
Reading this one right?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay.
They have multiple kids that went here, or come here right now.
Okay.
And it
So-
only has to be done once, so once he does it, or once they approve, you guys approve this, then it doesn't have to be done again.
For the family.
Yeah, well,
No.
the family's already been approved
The other ones have
prior.
been
Other
approved.
Yeah,
students.
but he's coming into preschool.
So move to approve the open enrollment form as Lindsay has announced.
Second.
Ready to go.
Tyler,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Cindy,
Yes.
Eric,
Yes.
Cody,
Yep.
Lee,
Yes.
Rob,
Yes.
Jennifer.
Yes.
And the last one is same family, kindergarten, Jamestown to BCN.
These all hit the deadlines for open enrollment, correct?
These meet the deadlines?
They all
The
met
March
the-
deadline, yes.
Okay.
So moved to approve the open enrollment as Lindsay has announced.
Second.
Okay,
Mike,
yes.
Cindy,
Yes.
Cody,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Jennifer,
Yes.
Tyler,
Yes.
Eric,
Yes.
Rob.
Yes.
Okay,
Were you reading that off of this, Jen? Were you reading that off of?
Nope, that's coming from the brain. Still clicking today.
okay, negotiations. Next item on the agenda is administration negotiation strategy. This item may be discussed in executive session only when an open meeting would have an adverse fiscal effect on the bargaining or litigating position of the board. Legal authority for the closing of this portion of the meeting is North Dakota Century Code 44-04-1919. The topic or purpose of the executive session is administrative negotiation strategy. At this time, a motion would be in order to discuss the next time executive session rather than the open meeting. Is there such a motion?
Motion to move to
Executive session.
executive session or or discussion of administrative contracts.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any other discussion? Not, roll call.
Eric,
Yes.
Cody,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Jennifer,
Yes.
Rob,
Yes.
Cindy,
Yes.
Tyler,
Yes.
Mike.
Yes. Okay, the executive session will be recorded. All members of the governing body are reminded to limit their discussion during the executive session to the announced topic. Prohibition of taking final action during the executive session does not apply to provide guidance or instructions to our negotiators. We now ask the members of the public who are attending the meeting to leave the room. We anticipate adjourning the executive session and reconvene the open meeting at approximately 8:30. Okay. Yep.
They're always listening.
Mike, we're back.
Ready? Okay. Minutes will show that executive session was adjourned at 8:37. The public has been invited to return to the meeting room and we'll now go back to open session. So what we have left is family connection, which Michelle is not here, so. Career and tech, we had a little tour last week. And Lee was there and Mr. Curry, but if anybody else wants to go through, just stop up there. Derek will take you through so you can see everything. Any input from what we had back?
Did you say last week?
It was a couple weeks ago.
Okay, yeah, when we were in.
You guys were in basketball.
Okay.
But we had, the only one school that wasn't there was Maple Valley because they had their meeting that night, but Litchfield was there, Valley, we were there, so. We went through some of the building project, our biggest dilemma on the building project. I don't know if they touched base to that, but is code. You got the new building, you got a 60s building, and you got a building in between there that's been built. So what code do you do? What is gonna be allowed by the fire marshal? What can mechanical draw up? So we're playing with code. Hopefully that they can come up with what code the mechanical can give a write-up.
Do you have to do it on the shop part too, being that's kind of a new building on its own?
There's the new building code, the one of the auto shop, which was built in, that can not have to be quite as strict as there. The other ones can be almost grandfathered in. They're deciding what we need to sprinkle, what we don't need to sprinkle. It is
Trying to avoid
mechanical
having to bring
engineer's
everything
nightmare
up to
right
code.
now. Be honest with you, that's where it's at. It's, what can they work on at mechanical to give us so we can bid? So we're hoping to get that back. Probably now is gonna be the end of March, is what the architect that night said, baby, he said, I'm telling you, we're not gonna get it here, it's gonna be maybe the end of March. Because we're hooked on mechanical drawings right now, because they can't come up and get a name, which code we gotta work off of, or which level of what. We got a building that's got 3 different codes in it.
Because we don't want to pick the most stringent, because it'll cost more, obviously. So,
Yes. And they're allowing us some of the old building, that, some of that's grandfathered in, that we maybe not have to do anything with. This one we might have to do, yeah, it's basically that. So what's held up right now is the mechanical engineer drawings to go to bid. Long story short, that's where it's at. There is, the ones that weren't there, I do have a little drawing, if anybody's interested, I got that here from the pictures we got, so where it's at, how it's gonna lay out and everything there. But also from that meeting, I think all we really talked about was funding. A question which we kind of touched base with Ag, as like I say, I got this meeting tomorrow morning, is what is the school's thought as we move ahead with cybersecurity? It ties into what we were looking at if we do anything with IT. Are the schools going to use us? Are they going to use their own? Are they going to go distance learning? I think they're trying to get out, I don't know if they touch, I think they're trying to touch base with everybody, get some idea what the thought is moving ahead with cybersecurity.
well,
You know,
you're
Melissa
missing-
said last month it wasn't going to be her, so where are we really going with that? It's going to fund where we look at what we want to try to get into the vocational side.
Right, and by July 1st, we have to
Have a
develop
plan.
that integration plan or CS cybersecurity. For us, it'll be an integration plan where I think I filled out that survey that was sent out. And I mean, I think the option of, you know, the VOTEC is always there, that we're probably gonna need to have that available and utilize that unless we can somehow work it into one or multiple classes, but we're not sure what that would even look like right now.
We're all on the same level, because that's what the discussion was, part of our discussion last meeting is, okay, are the schools gonna use us? Because that helps us fill some full-time IT people. Are they not gonna use us? Then do we have enough classes to offer for a full, I mean, how we're gonna try to go after a full-time IT person and fill that.
Which is what we don't have right now.
Which we
So
don't
if
have.
it doesn't fill, it does fall
We
back
have
to
a
the
guy we're
schools.
looking,
Okay.
that he's talking to, but then it's gonna throw back to the board. Do you wanna open this position? Do you wanna fill, just like our egg and whatever we
Yep.
talked about
Got
tonight?
it.
Do you want it or not? But if we're not gonna get buy-in from the school side, that it's tougher to fill what we have to, what other schools want there.
Well, does it make sense though, if that is offered there, why wouldn't we just use that rather than outsourcing? Is it a cost thing or is it?
No, because, I mean, that's part of being, part of the VOTEC.
Consortium, you know.
Part of it is, I mean, you're not going to, I don't think the idea is to send kids to the VOTEC for that one class.
Right.
So then it's either through CDE, which, not a huge fan of me personally.
Right.
For that, I would much rather see it online, face-to-face.
Okay.
I think, just for that interaction
Right.
part of it. And yeah, I think if we can get that face-to-face online interaction, yes. The CD, or the other where it's just, here's your class, work at your own pace, check in with your
Yeah.
teacher, whatever it
Right,
is. And
yeah.
initially, when this even first came out, I asked Derek, and I think it was even at the time when they had an IT teacher last year, I said, is this gonna create an issue for you if all of us were in the unit, plus you throw in those other ones that are part of the consortium or
Consortium,
whatever?
yeah.
Right.
We're into
It
two
is.
now, we're in the Ardent Valley and the west one.
Yeah,
We're into two.
for all those wanna do this, do you have the capacity for, you know, X number of kids for that? It's kind of my question, and it was hard to answer at that time.
It's still hard to, that's what we're trying to get a feel, what,
Yeah,
So the cybersecurity thing, our staff is already working towards that, or most are,
most are level 3, which is the
but
lowest
now we have to
level.
offer it to students of what age?
This is what they clarified at the admin conference. I was just telling Mr. Curry because we haven't had a chance to talk, but it sounds like you don't need an integration plan if you have somebody to teach it, or you can do the integration plan of how, and teach it throughout, like he was saying. So they clarified that. Out of all the administrators in there, there were still a ton of questions, because you could have, I don't know, Dr. Kopis was saying, like, the math teacher teach it, but like your science teacher teach it. There, with the credentialing and stuff, there were certain guidelines that we'll have to go back through and revisit. But I think we need some more clarity from the state, honestly, because I went in thinking we had an idea from our admin conversations, and then the other admins there had a bunch of other ideas, and then Dr. Kopis came back into a different session and readdressed it with the integration.
There's too many
variables right now.
people
They haven't just
also
designated
that muddy the water and.
They made the bill, but didn't really have the requirements in place.
Correct. Yeah.
They
That-
do somewhat, but you can still twist it. and
You
say,
can-
What if we
yep.
do this, what if we do that? They now have a rubric out that kind of will help you along. They have some people that are available for planning, but it's not something, I mean, the state is requiring it, but they're not gonna look at the plan. It's just something your board approves.
You're gonna approve it and then.
And you
on a-
only need a
They don't
plan.
want
As far as you're gonna check it off, here's where
Yeah.
we teach it.
Here's where we.
Like
put
you
it.
do your financial
Got it.
literacy, here's where we teach it.
So
Check.
offering the one thing, they need to have it at 1 credit in their, to graduate high school or whatever.
Half credit, one
Whatever it
credit,
is,
yes,
yeah.
from
Yeah.
9
Yeah.
Got
freshmen
it.
through.
So it's not a every year,
Yes.
every
And I believe
student needs it
this year's sophomores will be the first group that
That will-
needs that
that
credit.
needs it,
to
correct.
graduate.
Yes.
Got it. That's what I was wondering.
Yeah.
I was like, how are we gonna fit 6,
Yeah.
7 through seniors to all take this? I mean, you need a full-time person just to do that then,
Yeah.
but if it's that.
And I was honestly under the impression that we needed a district plan, integration plan, and that's not what they said out there. Like, if you have somebody, if you have a class that's being taught or the kids are taking it, then that would
Then you
replace
don't,
that.
but most
Yeah.
people don't have that person on staff.
Right.
Right.
that's where
Well,
the
here I got
integration
where
plan
we lean on this
comes in.
possibly.
It's
Got
a
it.
question where
Yes.
you're gonna,
Right.
because it, okay,
It's a
they,
lot of hours that's required to get
Yep.
that.
yeah.
Certification, yeah.
We don't have to delve that, but that's part of the, and I didn't think he was gonna get out, they're gonna talk with our member schools. Are you thinking to access us, because it will play in what we're trying to get, that would cover all that type of thing.
Got it.
Just like he said, can we handle it, can we not, how many are gonna, where we at? But
And yes, I agree, whether it's on a screen or in person, it's way better than a book
Yes.
self-paced.
Right.
That's where we were at.
I think
with
that's
that.
hard for my age, I can't imagine, yeah.
That's what
Some-
came out from the
some thrive,
vocational side,
but-
we just don't want the schools to go back, oh, we're gonna
Yeah.
distance edit,
Yeah,
you know.
some thrive, but others, yeah.
Other than that, not really anything else. Did, I guess you guys that seen some of the stuff that's going on up there, you got any comments you could make? I mean, I guess I live it, so I just.
Yeah, no, I've been there a couple times. I've met a couple of the teachers, but it was nice to get to put a face to a name to all the rest of them and see firsthand, where this new project, this new building or buildings expansion
Physically
is
where it's gonna
going.
go, and, yeah.
Yeah, and it's always good to hear positive things about your kids, which teachers, multiple made good comments about our students that go over there. So that's always nice to
Yeah.
hear too.
How many
But-
students do we have enrolled in there right now?
17,
Okay.
18,
Thank you.
17 is the number I've always
17,
used, but
yeah.
I might be wrong. That's what they,
16.
is it 16?
Yeah, I think 16 now.
Okay.
Yeah.
But no, the invitation's there. If you're ever in Valley, just pop up and he will give you a little quickie tour, show where everything's at, what goes on there, and where the additions will be going and that type of thing. So we're still plugging along, hoping to get mechanical. So that's all I got there, unless you have any questions. Shannon Valley Special Ed, anything?
Much like Mike, I have to do the director's eval for Mrs. Johnson's eval before the March date. Just talking about some financials, basically, just looking at some investments of where our money's at and what return we're getting on those. And then Andrew's just talking about some fall planning, some things she's looking at for next school year, so. I wasn't actually at the meeting yesterday, but I read the report.
Is that unit also applicable to contracts issued by March 1st or whatever, too, the same as our school does?
They're on 2-year contracts right now, so they're in the second year of
So
theirs, so
there's
same
not as much
thing.
questions then?
Right, so then it's a matter of issuing them right away because you don't have to negotiate.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
But the question is if the positions will stay filled.
Right.
That's
Right.
what I meant to
Right.
ask, not the
Yeah,
dollars,
that's-
but the.
Yeah, that's the question with
Got it.
every time you issue a
Yep, yep,
contract.
I didn't-
If
yep.
they get signed. Yep.
So we don't know that yet.
Okay. If nothing else, we're adjourned. Next meeting's the 13th. I will get this evaluation out to you, put the new one together, and if you can get it back closer to that March 1st, somewhere in there would be great. So adjourned.